You're listening to the Apothecary Pharmacy. I'm your wellness coach, Natasha Cherry. I have over 25 years of holistic experience, and I will save you both time and money. From how to use our organic and natural products to how to lose weight, we have a philosophy. It will work if you do it. It's that simple. As you will see, I like it simple. Life is complicated enough. Welcome to day 7. This is the Wholistic Lifestyle, and it's a segment of the Be Unique magazine and radio show that focuses on your wellness. If you've been with us for a while, you will realize that we switched out our music, so we're trying something a little new. Now, this is your day 7 of your 40-day wellness journey, and on day 40, we begin to focus on transitioning into a lifestyle versus just doing our 40 days, but we'll get into that later. Now, our journey has 3 main parts. One part, of course, is diet, where we focus on organic fruits, vegetables, and whole grains to give our body plenty of vitamins. Part 2 is the healing of the body, and we do that through water, through castor oil packs, through teas, through vitamins, through minerals, through supplements. Why water? I once knew a woman that healed her body from the effects of having a stroke simply by changing her water. So I can't say that enough times. It's unbelievable if you actually to see her before and after. Part 3, of course, is detoxification. We do that through our enemas, through our juice bath, and through juicing. So I want to reiterate that people have died from doing too many enemas the wrong way. So please visit day 3 to learn the proper way to do your enemas. Because unless you have cancer, I do not recommend doing enemas more than 20-day spans. But it is a case-by-case basis. But we do want to keep those things, of course, in mind. If you listen to day 6, that was the last podcast. We focused on giving ourselves juice baths, and we talked about the benefits of the detox bath and how long you should take the baths and a few other things. So because this is the end of week 1, we want to really reiterate what you should have done by the end of the week so that we kind of catch up. Now, if you haven't begun to implement all the things, don't worry. Implement it as you can. But we want to make sure we stay focused. So day 1, our main focus was making sure that we were able to walk daily if possible. The best time, of course, that I recommend to walk is after dinner. And you should have also gotten your supply list together. If you have not done so, please visit day 1 to get your supply list. Day 2, you should be working towards drinking 1 gallon of water daily, and you should have chosen the best water for your budget. And of course, the highest water to heal your body is going to be rainwater that is distilled. But of course, we don't always have ready access to that. So we have to find out what's best for our budget and what water is best for us that we can afford and that is doable. Day 3, you should have learned how to be safe doing coffee enemas every day for a certain amount of time. And of course, in this particular one, we're going to do it, of course, for our 20 days. And so we're going to look at that. And it's a case, of course, a case by case basis. And we discussed that if you are completely healthy, that enema should be done only once a week versus the 5 or 6 days. But if you have cancer in your body, you have sickness in your body, you have allergies, and which means you have built up mucus in your body, those things, of course, you want to get it out your body as quick as you can. You want to detoxify your liver, and you want to never, ever, ever, ever use tap water. Always use distilled water. I don't care where you get your water from. If you got it out of the bottle, it still needs to boil. You do not put your coffee in your coffee maker. You make sure you boil your water so that you can get the best out of your coffee. And it should be slow cooked for at least 15 to 20 minutes down on simmer. Just in case you did not get that, make sure that you are doing that. Now, as far as day 4, we discussed castor oil packs. Castor oil packs, if you listen, for me, is the holy grail of giving you not only energy, but a flattened tummy. When it comes to discipline, if you have enough discipline to do it on a consistent basis, even if you are not on your 40 days, what you will find is that it will flatten your tummy and you won't need plastic surgery. You will just need to be consistent in doing your castor oil packs. Day 5, of course, we discussed the tea as alternative medicine. I focused on how important it is to not only understand the benefits of the tea, but any contradictions that the tea may have that is based on any medications that you are taking at the time. So you want to be really, really careful of that and make sure of the different side effects. On day 6, we discussed juice baths. We discussed detoxing the body. We discussed that this is a very ancient method because water was designed to heal the body initially. So we want to immerse ourselves in as good of a quality of water as we possibly can get into, because this is a healing bath. So when we create our healing baths, even if you have to take bottled water and heat it up, bottled distilled water, of course, take your, for me, I take 3, if I'm on the go, I have taken as many as 3 5-gallon tanks, 5-gallon water bottles. You take that, I have a large pot that I use for collard greens. I also have a almost like a hot pot that I got while I was in Korea. So that hot pot, what it allows me to do is to heat the water up right beside the bathtub, because it's, of course, portable. So I can heat the water up right beside the bathtub, and then when it warms up to the right temperature, I can just pour it right in the bathtub, and I don't have to lug all of that water around. It's a matter of convenience, at least for me. And then today, we're going to focus on creating a one-day menu and kind of getting into the flow of what our daily menu should look like. Now, we did discuss in the beginning taking a day 1. We discussed taking a one-day menu and stretching it out for 7 days. I also gave you a couple of things or a couple of menu items as we were going through the week to kind of give you an idea of some of the things that I was implementing and supplementing my menu with. The idea is that you want to make sure you have enough for 7 days menu on hand, but you can supplement some of those things as you go in, and I let you know that one of the things I always supplement, especially when I'm with the kids, is taco night. And so of course we use vegetable protein in the place of it, and I also do a very good version of fajitas that is extremely satisfying. And I make the basis for the fajitas, of course. We discussed the fajitas, and so you may want to add that to your menu. Now, you can add any of those things that we discussed, but what we want to do now is we want to begin to plan breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and we want to at least add 2 items. If you want to add the taco night, you can, but based on the menu that we have and the stuff that we have discussed so far, so you can have your Buddha bowl one night, you can have your taco or fajita the next night, and then I'm going to introduce you to other things and a couple of menu items that we're going to add. So you can loosely, you can do a 4-day menu or a 2-day menu. It's kind of up to you really at this point. But remember, it is a whole lot easier when buying for the month or buying for the week rather, to of course duplicate a lot of your things. And so we're going to show you how, as we get to week 4 and 6, you're going to see how your monthly menu becomes really, really simplified just by starting off this way. And yes, we're kind of starting off slow, but you'll be able to notice that by the time you get to our 4 weeks and we're doing a 30-day menu, this is going to be a piece of cake. Your grocery list is going to be a piece of cake. Creating your your monthly menu is going to be simple, easy. It's going to be cheaper. We're going to talk about some things that cut your costs down. And so, no, we're not jumping into it, but I want you to mentally have some idea of some things that we're going to be doing, because we want to take this slowly, but by the time you finish, you're going to be your menu making is going to be so simple. And we want to begin to introduce some things, of course, in this podcast that's going to make things a little bit easy when it comes to your menu. So, of course, we're going to talk about supplementing your menu. We're going to talk about salads, some soups. We're going to talk about still eating seafood and adding seafood for your to your diet instead of your meats. Eating seafood right now and kind of transition over there. And we're going to talk about the 2 menu items that we're going to add to your menu this week. So let's get into it. So we're going to take that 1-day menu right now, and we're going to put at least 2 days. We're going to build at least 2 days. And if we do the 2 days, then what we're going to end up with, of course, is repeating every other day, eating that whatever we design on our menu. So far we discussed the Buddha bowl. So the first thing you may want to do is you may want to keep Buddha bowl on your menu, and if you keep Buddha bowl on your menu, now you have 3 things on your list, and you're going to just duplicate it twice. If you keep the taco night up there, then you also can have 3 or 4, depending on how you want to look at it, and then you can duplicate it. And so, and we also talked about 2 breakfast dishes that work really well. Now, right now we're doing a menu, and we're not adding snacks in, but you will be. So beginning next week, you will be adding 1 snack to your menu, and we will begin to discuss some very simple snack ideas. But right now, we just, for when we're developing this week, we're not going to add any snacks for week 2. We're going to add snacks in week 3. Okay? So, one of the things that we look at is that we want to pick one thing that we really, 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 really like. So the menus I'm giving you are things that I can eat a lot of. And so, of course, one of the things that I can eat a lot of, and generally my kids can eat every day, and you want to try to find things where you don't have to, you can just adjust the menu when it comes to your kids if you have them, rather than, or your husband, rather than have to create a whole new menu item. So, of course, we discussed lentils. Now, brown lentils or green lentils, I don't remember if I discussed with you the kinds of lentils. But it's fine, because we're going to, one, discuss red lentils today. And then, because we're discussing red lentils, I will give you the option of brown and green lentils, which I typically prepare brown lentils and green lentils kind of the same. So I use them interchangeably when I'm making my menu items. Now, it's beginning to be winter time. You kind of have to decide whether you want it in a soup or whether you just want lentils, red lentils. And you can also, if you're having trouble feeling full, you can, and you don't want just soup, you can do, of course, lentils with injera. Injera, of course, is a Ethiopian flatbread that is fermented, and sometimes you can get that at your local store, and sometimes you can't. So, but red lentil soup is a really good thing. Now, I am a big fan of soup and salad, whether it's summer or it's wintertime. I'm a big fan of it. So, we want to keep our menus, especially in the beginning. I like to start out with not more than like 5 ingredients, and if possible, if I can find things that are 3 ingredients, trust me, I'm all over that. So another thing that, of course, we discussed last week was, of course, like our lettuce wraps and things like that. So you can have soup and lettuce wrap. You can have soup and salad. It's kind of up to you how you create your menu. I'm just going to give you some options to be able to make your week 2 menu. And so there is red lentil soup. Now, red lentil soup can be as simple as or as complicated as you want it to be, but I'm going to teach you how I learned to make the red lentil soup, and it is, of course, the Ethiopian way. What you do is you take tomatoes, and you take the tomatoes, fresh tomatoes, and of course blend them. After you've blended them, you put them in the pot with olive oil, and you're going to take that and in a separate pot, you're going to make onion sauce, and the onion sauce is no more than olive oil, and by olive oil I mean almost a cup full of olive oil and chopped onions, and you're going to just saute that for almost 20 minutes. After the 20 minutes, you're going to take that, you're going to put that in your tomatoes and your olive oil, and you're going to just put that on low, and you're going to simmer it. You're going to put your salt, your pepper. If you want to use baburi is a type of red curry. If you do not have that, there is a very good alternative, and that is to use a bean paste, but not the regular bean paste, to use a red bean paste. So use like a spicy red bean paste. It will have the same, maybe not completely the same fire, but it'll give you the same feel, and it has a good flavor. And there's a couple of Thai brands out there that I I love and I keep in my refrigerator consistently because it has a lot of flavor, and it's, of course, bean paste is extremely good for you. So it becomes a staple, of course, in my house, especially when I need something, a seasoning to cook with. So you put your red bean paste in there, or if you have Burberry, which is available on Amazon, or you can, of course, get it at your local Ethiopian store. But it is a seasoning that is almost like a curry, so it's a mixture of a couple of different seasoning, and it has a little bit of heat to it. So keep that in mind if you're going to use Burberry. Or you could kind of mix your own. I have done that before with fenugreek and cumin and turmeric. You can mix a lot of Middle Eastern seasonings together. But for right now, we're not going to talk about that because that can kind of get a little detailed. So and right now we want to keep it simple. So right now we just want to buy Burberry online or use the bean paste. We want to use our coriander, our onions, and of course our tomatoes. You take that and basically you just let that simmer. It'll simmer into, once it begins to simmer, then you put your red lentils in and you cook for about, I'm going to say about 30 minutes, and then it's done, because these are split, so they're almost split like split peas, so they're very, very thin, and so it takes them hardly no time at all. It's not like regular lentils that take almost 45 minutes to an hour. This is going to be really, really quick. It chills well in the refrigerator, so you could essentially make enough for a couple of days of soup if you want to. If you know you're going to have it today and tomorrow and the day after, just take it and put it in the refrigerator and you can have it for a couple of days. I have been known to make enough for the week. If I have injera, I am a happy person. I make me some tomato salad. I make some gomen. Gomen is nothing but either cabbage, spinach, or collard greens. My preference, of course, is spinach with ginger. My preference, and I let you know that before, that when I use ginger, I try not to use American ginger. I like Korean ginger root. I like that powder better. It just has a little bit more flavor to me. It's just a matter of preference. At the end of the day, sometimes I just go get ginger at the store because it's all I have, and I use, of course, frozen spinach, which means it's done in a couple of minutes. I chop up some onions. I like my onions that are like not quite cooked but a little bit on the raw side. I like that taste. If you don't, you may not want to put onions, or you want to make sure it's fully cooked. It is a personal preference. So that is one dish, of course, and it's a soup. So it can be used as a soup, or it can be used with injera. And so with another soup that I'm going to introduce, and of course, because at the time I'm recording this is winter, and winter time I'm a little bit heavier on my soups than I would be if I was in the summer, but I still always love soups and salads. They're really simple. So here's the thing about split peas. For a very long time, whether it be green split peas or yellow split peas, I thought they were the most disgusting things I had ever tasted in my life. And then I found a better way to cook them. And so I'm not going to say they're my favorite. Lentils would be my favorite if I have to choose one. But I'm going to say that it's a soup I can take and eat maybe once a week. This is not a soup that, because for me, I can eat. Now, if you are a person that likes beans and you like that pasty taste, you may like split peas better than me. But I have a thing that I really am not fond of beans. So because I am not as fond of beans, most beans, I do eat, it's a little, I may be a little bit different. So A lot of my friends love this soup. I mean, this is like their holy grail of all soups. They love this better than lentils, but I am not that person. But here's my recipe that I came up with, and then you can try this recipe out, and then of course you can be the judge. So when you're making your soup, of course I make my soup base. So I'm gonna take my vegetable broth or my vegetable bouillon cubes if that's all I have, and then I'm going to do, of course, my soup base. My soup base is going to be carrots, potatoes, and onions always. And because of the size of split peas, because they are so small, is the reason why typically I cut up the potatoes and the carrots and the onions so tiny. So I cut them up really, really small. I take my vegetable protein and I set it in chicken broth until it expands. And then I basically just take the vegetable protein and the split peas, and I just put it in the pot with the carrots, potatoes, and onions that are cooking, and I let that slow cook. When you finish, you're going to have a dish that not a lot of people are going to recognize doesn't have meat in it. I fed it to my dad. My dad is really, really picky. He ate almost 3 bowls. And when I told him it was split peas, 1, he didn't believe me. And 2, when I told him it didn't have meat in it, he definitely didn't believe me because the vegetable protein made him think that there was hamburger or something like that inside of it. So this is a good dish. Now, the kids liked it. Of course, they probably don't like it as much as lentils, but I don't know that because I didn't ask. But they all finished the bowl, said they loved it, and we were good. And I made it for them several times, and never have I heard them complain about it. So when we think of those items, those are our 2 items, of course, for this week. And we can take that 2-day menu and either keep it as a 2-day menu, or we can make it as a 4-day menu. Now that's our dinner, what we are eating for dinner. Now when it comes to your lunch, I'm going to introduce 2 different salads. And in this case, I am going to introduce you soup for dinner, and then of course salad for lunch. Now of course you can have soup and salad, it is up to you, but the way I'm introducing this menu is the way I'm going to eat it. And typically, sometimes if I'm going to eat a large bowl of soup, I'm not going to have room for a salad, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to eat a very large bowl of soup. So one of the things that we're going to eat for this one, at least, is the ingredients you're going to need for the first salad is spinach, some kind of fruit. Sometimes you can get like strawberries or mandarin or something like that. And then I like to use pecans. And sometimes I use sugared pecans, of course, but sometimes I just, add some kind of pecan or nut to it. And then I just simply take a salad dressing. And we want to kind of get away from bottled salad dressings. We want to keep our vinaigrettes really, really simple. And we're going to make fruit-based vinaigrettes. So we're just going to say, if we have strawberries, we're going to put the strawberries in the blender, add a little water to it, and then add lemon juice, olive oil, and done. If you want to add pomegranate vinegar, pomegranate vinegar, for those of you who may not have heard of it before, when you go to other countries, one of them being Korean, they don't just have vinegar made from apples. They have vinegar made from all kinds of things like apples and lemons and everything else. So when you go on Amazon, you can get, sometimes it's a 3-pack, sometimes it's a six pack. When I order my pomegranate juice has a tendency to come alone, and it's only 2. And then I have other vinegars that I order, and they come in packs of 3 or 6. And it's anything from pear to lemon, and they believe it or not, in Korea they're used as drinks. So that tells you how good the flavor is to these. But so you could actually take it, put it in a cup, and you can actually drink vinegar water. Some people do it every morning, and you will have a really, really good tasting vinegar. But I use them as the basis for my salad dressings, and so it's the reason why I order so many of them, because a lot of times I make a lot of my salads. So let's say I order 5 of them. 5 of them is going to cost me $30 to $40, and sometimes you can find certain people that's kind of on the high side. But let's just say I bought 5 and I paid like $40 for them. That's enough to get me most of the time through the year. So most of the time I'm good. And I use them in marinades. I use them in salads. They are one of the staple things I love to use, especially because I like to make my own salad dressings. So you're going to take pomegranate vinegar. If you have it or want to get it, get that Amazon. You're going to use some kind of fruit. And this particular one, most of the time is spinach, strawberries, and pecans. But I've also seen spinach, blueberry, and pecans. It is whatever fruit you can kind of get your hands on, and most of the time it works well. I've used kiwi. I've used try not to use a citric one though, but you can use mandarins, and mandarins come in a container that you can get all year around in a can or something, and they work extremely well. And so you can use the mandarins, and then of course the spinach and the pecans. And then if you're going to use the mandarins, then use a orange juice as your salad dressing. And you're just going to use real orange juice. You're going to use a little bit of orange juice, a little bit of, if you have the vinegar, pomegranate juice. If you have the vinegar, lemon vinegar, that's great. If you don't have the lemon vinegar, just use regular lemon juice and use your olive oil. Either way, you're going to just 3 ingredients. You use your orange juice, your lemon juice, and your olive oil. If you have the lemon, then you add that to it as well. If you have the lemon vinegar, then add that to it. It'll take it over the top a little bit. And it works wonders for your salad, and it's simple. Now, another salad that I really, really like is over a bed of lettuce. So I put a bed of lettuce over it. I take pears and imitation crab, and then of course you can put walnuts over it as well. Again, my favorite dressing for this particular one is a kiwi dressing, and this is something that I typically make during the summer, so it may be a little bit hard to find, but sometimes you can find frozen kiwi. So if you can find frozen kiwi in the section, they pop in the blender just as well. Just take that, pop that in the blender, and make your salad dressing. Kiwi would be my favorite salad dressing out of all the fruit salad dressing, and it's nothing but kiwi, lemon, and lemon juice with a little bit of olive oil, and that is my favorite. And it's simple, and it's not complicated. Let's see what else. And now, if you're going to do soup and salad, because some people are going to eat both, I wanted to offer you an alternative lunch. So an alternative lunch can be either made into a salad or a sandwich. And what it is going to be either tuna cakes, mackerel cakes, salmon cakes, or some kind of seafood cakes. And basically, it is no more than opening a can of tuna, a can of mackerel, a can of salmon, and adding salt, pepper, a little bit of mayonnaise. I'm not fond of mayonnaise, y'all, but you can use mayo. You can also use a avocado mayo if you want, because I've used that. So if you want to use avocado mayo, that's fine. And then chop up some onions if you like them, and then put a little bit of stuffing, and I mean a little bit of stuffing and breadcrumbs. And once you got it to the place that it holds together, then you can even bread the outside if you want to. It's up to you. And then you fry it. Now, this is going to be a lot healthier than than your hamburgers and your french fries and things like that. But it's also really simple. And most of the time, you have a can of tuna fish in your closet. And most of the time, like, I have tuna fish, and I probably don't eat tuna fish like I should. But tuna fish is one of those things that is very easy to process. Now, you can also, instead of frying it, you can also put it in the oven and bake the cakes. But you're basically going to make them the same way you would make a crab cake. The only thing is, it's going to be either tuna, like I said, mackerel, or salmon. These are really simple. Tuna fish is what I recommend, because tuna fish is one of the easiest fish to digest. And since we're on our 40 days, we're looking for food that digests in our bodies as well as possible. So tuna fish is one of those things. It's the reason why I recommend, if you're going to eat something, to do tuna fish. Okay, so on our next podcast, which is day 8 and week 2, we're going to discuss eating out, cheat days, holidays, and things like that. So to help you get through, Christmas is coming up. But no matter what time it is, sometimes you're not in a place, or you have something to do. So I'm going to give you some tips that will help you get through your holidays and through your cheat days. And we're going to give you some cheat items and some recommendations, so that if you cheat, here's the things that you should cheat with. Till next time, this is Wholistic Lifestyle, brought to you by the Apothecary Pharmacy at www.theapothecaryfarm.com, saying it will work if you do it. We keep it simple because life is complicated enough.